Hey guys, and welcome back to another game showcase. Recently, it's come to my attention of this game called Nine Kings. Nine Kings is basically a card battler roguelike build your army style of game, and it's currently still in the demo phase. So a lot of, I guess, some of the content is still not out yet. But currently, the game you can still play from start to finish. It's just that out of the nine kings, you currently only can play up to 4. So as of now, we have the 4 kings here, which is the king of nothing, the king of spells, the king of blood, and then the king of greed. Then you also would be able to fight the 5th king, which is the king of nature, but currently you are not able to play him yet. So you have to wait for the full game, which is out in April. So we just go into the game to show you how the game is like. So each king has up to 9 cards that you can get, and every turn you will be given a selection of 3 cards out of these 9. So currently also the difficulty there is from peasant to squire to knight and then to baron. So baron is currently the highest difficulty of the game. And basically the high difficulties are locked behind a full game. And I'm assuming it's because currently the perks are not unlocked as well. So as you play the games, after your runs, you will gain EXP for your king, the specific king, and then your king will level up and you'll get basically perk points to upgrade your get like permanent upgrades to your king's army instead. So there are things like starting with a +1 completely random card, or like the discard pit giving you more gold in case you get a card that you don't like. Or even like starting with a open random plot. This is quite huge because this currently in the game, I think you only get about 2 expansions. If you're not playing endless mode, you're playing just the full run itself, you only get 2 plot expansions. So a random extra plot is actually quite good. But we'll just go into the game. So we'll just start with King of Nothing to show you how the game is like. So basically we have 2 random enemies, 3 random enemies to be exact. It's always, so because I selected the King of Nothing, there is always the King of Nothing's Rebellion. And then there are 2 extra enemies, which was the King of Spells and the King of Greed. And we'll start with a castle start placing the castle first. And now we are given the option of 3 different cards. So personally, I like to go for units. So I'll go for the knights. So these are basically the tanks of the King of Nothing's army. And basically, this is how the game basically runs. You just play a unit, and then basically the AI would fight for you. You can also turn off auto to actually aim where the castle hits, but currently, of course, who wants to aim, right? We just let the AI take over. I'm just gonna play the thief to add to my army. So currently from what I've seen in Baron difficulty, the game actually snowballs quite hard. Also currently we just defeated the King of Spells. Previously we defeated the King of Greed's army. So we were given the King of Greed option out of his army, and now we are given the option for the King of Spells. So we just take a ranged unit, which is the Shamans, the Wizards, sorry. So we do have a front line and a mid line, and then we also have a back line. And then because we have 3 units, we'll just take the Blacksmith to have some scaling into the late game. So the Blacksmith basically buffs the 4 adjacent plots around the Blacksmith. I could go Warlock here for a stronger front line, or I could upgrade the Wizards. Oh, this is a tricky situation. If I go for a Warlock, my wizards are essentially my carries in a sense. Okay, I think I'll just go for a Warlock because why not? Okay, I might go for movement speed here because Wizards and Knights are very slow. And the Warlocks are very slow too. So I'll just go for movement speed so they can catch the enemy's army. Ooh, farm is really nice. So as you can see, my knights, I basically have, at level 1 I have 3 knights and I have 3 warlocks, but I have around 9 wizards, as you can see from the number at the top right, and I have 9 thieves. So a farm basically gives me +1 unit to adjacent army of where the farm is, which is basically if I place it here, either my knights or my warlocks will get an extra army every turn, as you can see plus a recruit. So this is actually, the farm is actually really good for units that have very low unit count. Ooh, I think I'll upgrade my wizards here. So static is a buff that you can put on a unit, and it basically does 1 damage and 1 chain per stack. So I can basically stack statics onto 1 unit itself, so it will keep triggering. It will do more chain attacks and more damage. And library is basically like a farm but for the king of spells. It basically would, if I have static on my wizards, it will basically have a 50% chance to put another static on my wizards. Ooh, beacon is actually really nice. Another thing I didn't mention was, so if in the case where if you don't like all 3 of your cards, if the options you were given were bad, you can actually throw your cards here and you actually sell the card and skip your turn. And there's also 3 lives here, like 3 tombstones here. So if you lose a battle, you basically lose 1 life. And basically after you lose 3 battles, you lost the round. It's also, one thing to take note is that there's a final battle at year 27 or 28, I forgot. But basically if you lose that battle, you will essentially lose the whole run as well. So I'll just go for combustion so that now if my wizards kill anything, they would explode and basically do AoE damage around them. The enemies would. Okay, I'll upgrade blacksmith again. Okay, so now when we have this diplomat option, basically we can wage war with another king. So currently I have king of spells and king of greed as my enemies and king of rebellion. Basically a king of nothing rebellion, which is the king of nothing's rebellion force, the rebel army. So currently I can choose these 2 options, the king of blood and the king of nature. And what this does is basically if I were to pick the king of nature, which I'm going to, I will essentially be able to fight the king of nature's army, and after that I'll be able to select from the king of nature's 9 cards or 9 options. So I'm just going to upgrade the blacksmith. So now my blacksmith will buff everything around it twice. And I want to fight the king of nature, because the king of nature has very strong buffs or very strong options. I could go beacon here. Personally, I don't really like thieves. Like, I've never really managed to make thieves work, because it feels like they're very paper, they're like glass cannons. So personally, I would want to sacrifice the thieves if possible. Ooh. It's the option of farm or blacksmith. Or I could go wildcard just to level up another unit, but I think if I want to scale harder, I should go blacksmith, because it buffs all 4 of my units. Okay, so now we have a shop. Currently each card is 30 gold, but then the more I purchase something, the other cards basically become more expensive. So forest is really nice, because I can place a forest here and it basically gives 1 HP to adjacent armies. So you give 1 HP every turn to my knights and to my thieves. But my thieves only have 9 HP, as you can see, so a forest is actually really insane. But personally, I don't know how good that is, buffing thieves, because obviously thieves, you want them to be a DPS unit. So I've currently maxed out blacksmith, which is really nice, and then I'll upgrade the farm. So now I have 2 extra units every turn. And at least my thieves are getting significantly more HP, so they don't actually, eventually they won't get one-shotted so fast, I guess. But now comes the problem of I have too many buff buildings and now my army is too weak. And the game is basically snowballing, so the enemy's army is actually really strong now. Well, my army is really weak, so I need to find some way to upgrade my army faster. I do have warlocks, so I can upgrade my warlocks to have some form of better frontline. So basically any unit or building or turret or what, they have 3 upgrades or 3 levels. As you can see from the 3 beats at the bottom. Ooh, these are wizards. I don't have archers, so all 3 of these are actually really bad. I might reroll this. Okay, I got wildcard, which is really nice. Okay, so now I have the option of expanding for free one of my plots. I think I might expand this, either one of this or either the beacon. If I want DPS, I will go the beacon. But currently, I think I am losing too fast, so I will actually want more tanky units, I think. Well, I could upgrade this and then put a farm here to be able to ensure I have more wizards, or put a farm here to ensure I have more knights. I think going another farm might be too greedy. I think I'll just put one here. I think I want to upgrade my wizards maybe. Because essentially I need more damage so that I can kill them faster. My army is losing quite hard, unfortunately. I didn't upgrade my castle because I want more units. Personally, in my opinion, upgrading a castle isn't really useful. So it could be an extra upgrade on a unit which would make a huge difference in a fight. But we are losing currently and our castle can't really save us anymore. I'll just go for thieves, I guess. I don't know how much better the thieves are after one upgrade. Currently it doesn't seem like we're doing too much. Okay, we managed to win the King of Spells, which is really good. A 3rd Warlock upgrade? Nice. Okay, we can max our Warlock. All these are pretty bad. I'm going to reroll this. Oh, okay, I'll take Feast just because I'm losing fights. And now my Warlocks are maxed. So now my units have a significant amount of HP. I do need knight upgrades though. Okay, so this is why I picked King of Nature. So clone is essentially like a wild card, where I can pick one plot of land and then I essentially just get another card of it. So I can get, if I pick like knights, I get knight. Then I can upgrade my knights with my knight card. Or I can get procreate, which is pretty much what I wanted, which gives 9 units to any plot that I want. So currently my warlocks are maxed, so I'm going to put it on my warlocks. Actually, I should have maybe done it on my wizards, but I feel like I'm losing my front line pretty badly against some armies. Okay, our army has made a comeback, I think. Okay, I could go greedy and go for a farm, but I do have 1 life left, so I think I'll just go for a wildcard just to upgrade my knights. I'll make peace with the King of Greed because I don't really like the King of Greed's army. Although my... Actually, I could go... I think I'll get my thief since I got rid of the King of Greed. Okay. Personally... this is a cut. The Mycelium is a cut which basically scales over time. Currently we are very close to the last fight. This symbol is basically the boss fight. So I think it's too late for Mycelium. Orchard is something that I think grew on me. At the start I didn't really think of using Orchard, but it actually was pretty clutch in certain scenarios. I feel like clone is just too good to pass up. I do want to clone my knights. Because currently my knights are still level 1. I think another if I can max my knights, I'll be in a really good spot here. And possibly get some buffs. Okay, just nice, we got knights. So now our units are all max, which is really, really nice. So now I want to see if I can maybe max my farm or max my forest. Or possibly get like some form of, I was going to say buffs, and just nice I got shamans. Okay, got territory expansion. I'll probably put it here in case I can get a buff building there. Then I'll put my shamans here. So if I'm not wrong, do shamans attack? I think shamans don't attack, or they just have like really bad attacks in a sense. Let me reroll and ooh, farm? Farm would be nice for the shamans. But I was actually looking for possibly a blacksmith to be able to buff my shamans too, but I'll just take farm, I guess. The shamans are another unit which have really low unit count. So I do want to upgrade them to get more units if possible. Okay. Oh, but forest though. But procreate for shamans. Oh, procreate is so good on any of my max units too. But that forest though. Oh, I think procreate is just too good to pass up. And this is useless because I'm not upgrading my castle. This is somewhat useful. This is really useful, but I already have one of these, so I don't really need this anymore. I'll probably reroll. Poison spikes is probably decent. I think I'll take it. Now the question is, do I want to procreate my shamans? It feels really bad that they are only level 1. I could procreate my thieves to have better assassination of their backline, which is probably a good thing. Maybe this is the run where I actually like thieves, who knows. This might be the run where thieves actually do something. You can see that the backline basically got erased because of the thieves. Oh, I keep getting cards that I don't want. Let me reroll. That's not what I want either. I could go steal code and put it on my thieves, I guess. I'm not sure. I mean, essentially steel code should be able to stack if I'm not wrong, which is pretty OP. Oh, I don't want any of this. I can just upgrade my. I can just take a castle, I guess, but I'm probably not going to use it. Wildcard and clone, nice, nice. This would let me max my shamans. And then I'll probably still code my wizards. And if I do fight a king of nothing, which is right now, his elves shouldn't be able to one-shot my backline, which is huge. I get forest, so we have now 2 HP every round. As you can see, my thieves were previously at 9 HP at level 1, now they are 52 HP, which is huge. Oh, these are all bad. But it's the last round. I need to reroll for. Oh, I don't have money to reroll anymore. Yeah, these are all bad, unfortunately. I just have to take something and just sell it. So this is the last fight. Basically, in year 27, you have to fight a boss battle essentially. Then you are able to basically use all of your cards. But unfortunately, I don't have an extra plot, so I can't use the shamans. And this is basically the last fight of the run. I think my army is pretty decent against this. So you're essentially fighting yourself, like the King of Nothing's rebellion army, I think. I'm not sure if it's always yourself. But yeah, my army basically is very strong. So we we struggled in the early game, we almost lost, but because we went for a late game, we actually managed to win. And now you basically have the option to go endless mode, which is basically you click continue playing. I guess I'll just show it. So now you have an option to expand anytime you want at the cost of 30 gold. And then the game basically continues. It's a pretty bad spot for a blacksmith. I could go for archers here, which is actually decent. So at least I can have another unit that's getting buffed. I can use my wildcard on the archers, I guess. Or maybe I can wildcard the beacon. Oh, I'll go static. I'll static the thieves to be able to destroy their backline faster. So essentially my army right now, because my backline has the steel coat, my backline is essentially like a huge counter to the King of Nature, basically, because the King of Nature basically builds elves in the backline, and elves are like snipers. They just one-shot your backline, but because of the steel coat, my backline can't be one-shotted. Ooh, farms? Farm or archer? I think I want to go greedy and go farm. Now I'm afraid that because in endless mode it actually scales significantly harder, so my front line would out of nowhere suddenly get destroyed. Like right now you see I'm somewhat stomping the enemy. Oh, times 2 HP is insane. Holy. Okay, I'll go forest because I don't think I can lose this with that times 2 HP currently. Oh yeah, see, even with times 2 HP, half of my army died. Which is insane to think about. Wait, you think how strong I am? I'm getting really greedy by constantly upgrading my buildings, but I think I have to do it. Because the later I upgrade my buildings, the worse it becomes. Ooh. Clone would give me another... I'll use it for another farm? Or maybe I'll use it for another archer. I think I'll use it for the archer. Now their armies are huge, and I don't think... Yeah, basically this is the point where I start losing. And I'm assuming because it's still in the demo phase, when you reach this point, the year 34, your army basically can't win. But if you once the full game comes out, you have things like perks and stuff which give you a stronger start, which I think will be able to help you to get past this huge hurdle of difficulty. As you can see, we basically got EXP for finishing the run, and then we got another level which gives us another perk point, but unfortunately we can't use it because it's still in the demo phase. But yeah, that's basically one full run of how Night Kings is about. So we basically have 4 kings to play around still in the demo phase, and you're able to play from start to finish, and even some of the endless mode. I don't know if it's possible to even get past the level 34. I'm sure there's people who have done it. Well, you're gonna probably have to get really, really lucky with your rolls and everything. But yeah, I think it's pretty fun even though it's still in the demo phase. There's actually quite a lot to explore. Like every king basically has their own cards, essentially their own way of like play style and everything. Like for the King of Blood, their units are really weak. Like the imps are basically very fast and aggressive units, but they are very paper. So they essentially have no health, but they have what they have is numbers. So they will overwhelm your units. So if you're fighting something like the King of Nature, he has elves with sniper units, but they have very low unit count. You essentially would flood them and basically overwhelm them. Then you have ways like cemetery, which if you put it next to the imps, if the imps die, they basically summon another imp because of the cemetery. So like, I guess it's very fun because of each king are very unique in their own way. Like even the King of Greed is probably the most unique in my opinion. Like his name suggests he's the King of Greed. So he essentially his play style is you want to be as greedy as possible. You want to earn as much money as possible. So for example, like his frontline unit is the mercenary, which you get one unit for each gold, 15 gold that you own. So essentially, if you don't spend your gold, your this unit basically has more units, and you can play stuff like Vault, which basically at max rank gives you 9 gold per round. So essentially, in every 2 rounds, you will get one extra mercenary. Then you also can get things like Midas Touch, which is basically if you put it on, for example, like your mercenaries, if they kill a unit, there's a 2% chance that you gain a goal. So it's like the King of Greed is very hard scaling into the late game. Like you can destroy a plot that you don't want and it gives you 30 gold back. Then there's also things like his turrets. I like his turrets a lot, but it is a very situational thing because his turrets are horrendous in the early game. They are essentially useless if you don't have a vault. So what the turret does is just a single target turret, but you get 1% attack speed for each 1 goal you earn. And this is basically, if you don't have a vault, you get 9 gold per round, like at the end of the round. So essentially your turret, actually not end of the round, but like when you place a unit down and the battle starts, you gain 9 gold. So your turret essentially gains 9% attack speed every round if you don't have a vault. If you have a vault, then your dispenser gains 18% attack speed every round. And if you have Midas Touch, you gain 1% attack speed every time you trigger Midas Touch. There's also the beacon, which adds 2% attack speed to adjacent units and towers. So if you put it with a dispenser, it gains another 6% if it's max beacon. So you gain 6 plus 9 from the passive. Like passively you gain 9. And then you get another 9 from a vault. So that is 18 plus 6, which is 24. So again, 24% attack speed in the ideal situation, which is pretty insane. But basically, if you need so much setup to be able to make this work, essentially. But I personally, I like it a lot because, I mean, who doesn't like a gun that shoots like a machine gun? Then there's also things like overinvest, which is basically you spend 30 gold to increase one unit or tower stat by 15%. But of course, when you use overinvest, you lose 2 mercenaries because you lose 30 gold. So, I mean, it's the question of how greedy do you want to be. And honestly, that's a very fun playstyle in my opinion. You're basically like pushing the boundary. You're seeing how much you can min max. Compared to things like King of Blood, where all you think about is how can I flood? How can I flood the board? Then there's things like Carnage, which is basically your unit dies, it will explode, your self-destruct. So you just flood the board and you make them all self-destruct, which is pretty insane when you ask me. And then there's things like Demon's Altar. So this is their tanky unit in the King of Blood. And essentially it summons 1 demon per level, so 3 demons at max. Every time a unit dies, it gains 0.3% stats. So if you're flooding the board, and you're flooding the board even more with Cemetery, and your secret, which is your castle, also floods the board with imps, then your demon becomes insanely strong. There's also things like bombers which self-destruct also, so they also trigger the demon, so your demon just gets very, very, very strong. So you can see the playstyles are very different for each king. Like the king of spells, I never really showcased this, or never really talked about it. But essentially, I guess their playstyle is mainly to get your warlock as your front line, your wizard as your back line, your shaman is a buffing unit, and then you just spam combustion and static. So combustion just makes the enemies self-destruct and hurt themselves, like the allies around them. And then you just spam static to be able to chain lightning everything. Your castle, which is a citadel, also does a chain lightning effect. And then you just put library on whatever unit you are buffing, which will just keep triggering combustion and static, and essentially your units have so much spell damage that you overwhelm the enemy. There's also things like Spire, which basically heals your units. But Spire, in my opinion, is not really very good. Because you want to flood the board anyway. Like, essentially, you want to take, like, King of Nature, and then you get procreates on your Warlocks. Because your Warlocks have very low unit count. So, essentially, Spire doesn't really do much, because it heals a certain amount of units only. Like, there's a max count. It doesn't heal everything. So, when you have a ton of unit count, your Spire doesn't really do much. There's also things like offering, which is you basically sacrifice a plot to get 3 random tomes, so you could get like 3 procreates, or you can get if you get unlucky, you get like 3 over invest, and you just spend like 90 gold to buff your units. But yeah, there's a lot of things to play around, and honestly, currently I have finished, I guess, all the kings and all the, because currently Baron is the highest difficulty, right? So you start from peasant. And when you win peasant, you basically get the next difficulty, which is like squire or something. Yeah, it's squire. Then you finish squire, you get knight, and then you get baron. So essentially, I've sort of played all of the demo, and honestly, I'm still replaying it. So that's because it's quite fun. And honestly, some kings, in my opinion, are stronger than the others. But essentially, it comes down to what is your playstyle, I think. Like I like farms a lot. I think farms are really insane. But some people might like the King of Greed, for example. I personally find the King of Greed the hardest to play. But I have won with the King of Greed before a few times, so it is possible to win. It just comes down to what is your playstyle, what do you like to play. And honestly, right now there is 4 very unique kings already. Or rather 5, but you can't select the King of Nature yet. And honestly, once the 9 kings are out, when the full game is out, I think, and with all the perks and everything, the perk trees, I think it will be really, really fun. And I think there's a lot of things to discover in this game. And honestly, I don't know how much the full game will be, but considering it's an indie game, maybe $20 to $30. And honestly, $20 to $30 for so much content, I think it's actually worth it. So this is a game that actually I will be looking out for. I think I will honestly probably insta buy it on release. But yeah, I hope this is a good showcase to the game. Not sure if I will post extra like showcases of the other kings and stuff. I'll probably maybe do it if I feel like it. But I think just playing one king is enough to showcase what the game is about, and then because it's a demo, right? So it's actually free right now. So you guys can probably download the game and try it for yourselves. I think it's more fun if you guys can play it by yourself, experience it by yourself, instead of, just watching and then basically knowing everything already before you play it. So yeah, go and try out the game. Possibly maybe give some feedback. Personally, I think at least the endless mode is too hard, but of course it's not the full game yet. And there are certain classes that I think are probably too weak. Like personally, I don't think Vampirism is really good, but who knows, it could be really good at the late game. Things like that, like King of Greed, overinvest feels really bad when you're the King of Greed, even though it's part of his playstyle. But yeah, certain things, maybe balance changes, maybe you want to see some quality of life improvement. Like, one thing I really hate is when the game slows down when your whole army is dead, and then you see the enemy's army slowly encroaching on your castle, and then all you can do is watch in slow mo as you die. I feel like they should at least give an option to let you like skip it and just lose the life or something, you know, or like fast forward it to when you win the round. But yeah, currently the game as of now, I think really fun. I think definitely worth getting and definitely worth trying out. It's probably one of the better games out there right now. And honestly, I love this kind of like building your army and then sending them to fight a better like per round kind of style of game. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys like the showcase of it. And probably see you guys again when the game is fully out. I'll see again if I maybe want to record me playing other kings. But yeah, as of now, this is the showcase for Night Kings, and I'll see you guys in another video.